Hey y'all, hey, welcome back. It's Latricia Nicole. If you are new here, if you're not new here, welcome back. If you haven't already done so, make sure that you subscribe to my channel for more sit down chats like this, and also we sprinkle in a few little vlogs here and there. So this video is going to be short and sweet and to the point. I want to tell y'all what happened to me when God called me to go on a 3-day fast. So I know that I am not the only person that, or maybe I am the only person. I don't know. Y'all drop down in the comments and tell me, am I wrong? Am I the only person? I don't know. When I am scrolling on social media and I see something that said, stop, God told me to tell you, or God told me, or any of those things, I keep scrolling. I don't know why. I just do. If I'm wrong, I hope to grow in God and learn better, but I just do, okay? For some reason, since like the beginning of December, I kept seeing those videos, but the videos were in relation to doing a 3-day fast, and I kept thinking like, I mean, I didn't watch them, honestly, just because I felt like it didn't resonate with me at the time. But I kept seeing these videos like, God told me to tell you need to do a fast. God told me to tell you before the end of the year you need to go on a fast. And honestly, I kept scrolling, okay? One Tuesday, this was about 2 weeks ago. Tomorrow make 2 weeks actually. So I am driving from my parents' house, me, the baby, and my youngest son. It's about a 20 to 30 minute drive from my parents' house to my house. And the route that I take to get home, it is a dark road. So the baby had been a little bit fussy. We got her to calm down. And if you have a toddler, if you know, you know, once the kid calms down from a fussy episode, everybody better be quiet, because listen, if y'all talk or y'all do something to make her start up again, then we gonna have a problem. So the baby had calmed down. We riding home, no radio, no nothing on. And God specifically, clear as day, told me you need to do a 3-day fast starting tonight. So mind you, this is a Tuesday night, and what God told me was you need to fast until Saturday. So I'm like, okay, you know, okay. So I'm still driving. I'm almost home. We're still on like a dark patch of road. Right before I got to where there's light, God told me, I need you to fast from TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. Now, if y'all have watched any of my previous vlogs, then you'll know that I recently shared with you guys that I just recently landed my first paid, like I've gotten like a few little coins here and there, but my first, what I call like a big girl brand deal. So also, if you could just look and see, I don't have that many subscribers. I'm grateful for the 500 and I think 92 of you guys, but I have more subscribers on Instagram and TikTok. So I said all of that to say, for me to just start making money, and God is telling me to get off of those particular platforms, and I didn't understand it then, but I'll tell you what I understood at the end of why I understood it needed to be done by the end of the fast. So I was just kind of like trying to figure out, I don't know if y'all have ever done this before, but I'm figuring out like, okay, I'm gonna listen to you, God, but let me see if I could fast, like set up a fasting schedule where I could see a dip through on my social media, right? Because, and excuse me, I'm literally just getting over a cold. But because I'm just kind of like, okay, you know, God, like you done provided me where I'm not going to say that it is a grand amount of money that I have been making from social media, but it has made a difference in the things that I have been doing financially in my life. I'll say that. So if you do content creation, or even if you see the content creators that's giving tips on social media, then you know one of the things is you have to be consistent with your posting. Like, so to me, I'm just like, how am I going to be consistent in my posting and you want me to get off for 3 days? Like, how am I going to do that? Not to mention, I had like two I was negotiating at the time 2 different collabs. So in my mind, I'm just kind of thinking, this is not the time to stop posting. Like, this is not the time to just go ghost. I'm not engaging if I'm not on the app. I'm just to go ghost, right? So in my mind, what I thought was, this is, I'm negotiating with myself. I get home. So we get home, get the baby ready for bed. I get ready for bed. I get into bed, and I go to grab my phone just because, you know. So I grabbed my phone. I instantly just deleted the apps. Didn't pull them up to see what was on hold. Didn't pull them up to see what messages I had. Like, it wasn't like I just got the urge to, I'm not going to check any inboxes. I'm not going to check notifications. You know how it is when you have an iPhone, you just hold it down and you delete the app, and that's what I did. Okay, fine. So I'm sitting down and I'm like, okay, well, this is normally where I would start scrolling. And once again, God tells me, write the vision and make it plain. What is it? What's the vision for these areas of your life? And when I tell you, it was so profound, because the areas that God gave me to write the vision for, it was so personal. It was so things that I kind of like, it put it like this, because I won't go into details because that's between me and God. But the areas God gave me, 5 specific areas to write the vision and make it plain about these particular areas of my life. So I'm like, okay. So I pull out my journal. It's just like this is the Dear God journal. I got this from there's a content creator. She's one of my favorite content creators, Adrienne MG. She actually has her brand is Be the Light. So this particular journal, if you can see, is literally just for you to write like a love letter to God. I grabbed this from my nightstand, popped it open, and as God is giving me these particular areas that I need to write the vision for, I'm trying to write so fast that in hindsight, when I went back to look over what I wrote, I had to read over it a couple times, because I was trying to write it so fast that it was, I couldn't make out just on first glance what it was that I was even writing in some of the areas, right? So at the end of all of that, I wrote down why I was doing this, because I always said, you know, if I ever have to come back to this, I need to remind myself of what God told me to do in this moment. I also like to have a lot of aha moments in my journaling. In one of my previous sit down chit chats, I discussed doing like reflective journaling, like going back and looking over old journals to see like where you've come from. So in the middle of that, I wrote down like a little part at the end just to kind of remind myself of why I'm even doing this. What did God tell me to do? Where I was at when God told me to do it? Because once again, I don't know why. Like, why now? And it would have been easier for me to to turn down my plate, to do a fast from food. But these were the things that God told me to fast from. And then at the very end, I just wrote, in all areas, never leave the will of God, because I'm so God hasn't laid it on me to share this yet, but just in things that have transpired in my life in the last year and a half, I mean this, I'm not perfect, and I am striving every day to live a life that's completely pleasing to God. But I never, ever, ever want to find myself outside the will of God ever, ever, ever again. God gave me the opportunity to feel what it's like to live outside of the will of God. And then God also distinctly gave me the honor and the privilege of knowing what it feels like to live within the will of God. And just in being able to compare the two, I never want to find myself outside of the will of God. But back to the fast, okay? During the fast, I've talked about this before on my channel as well. You know, in Matthew 6:16, it definitely says, when you fast, do not look somber as the hypocrites do, for they disfigure their faces to show others they are fasting. I said all of that to say, I did not tell people that I was going to. First of all, it came to me so quickly and I had to do it so quickly. I didn't have time, even if I wanted to run to anybody and say, hey, tomorrow I'm starting on a fast. Tomorrow I'm starting on a fast. Now, I did have to let a few people know, like, hey, because social media is a funny place. You can remove the app all you want. And I watched this on, I forgot the name of the Netflix special. But if you're off social media, what they'll do is they'll start emailing you notifications. And the hope is for you to get back, like, go back to the app or go back to, you know, whatever. So I did message one of my really close friends. I did message one of my, and that all had God written all over it too, but that is private between her and I. But I messaged one of my friends and I explained to her, like, hey, I'm fasting, so I don't want you to think that I'm ignoring your messages. And so that turned into like a whole nother beautiful thing between her and I. So I said all of that to say, if God calls you to fast, and I can't tell you what to do because God may give you specific directions that he did not give me, but just remember what it says in the Bible, that you know, you're not supposed to look like you're fasting. You're not supposed to tell people that you're fasting. People are not supposed to be able to look at you and be able to tell that you're fasting. So here's what happened to me during the fast. For one, because it wasn't like I was in desperate need of something, so I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna fast because I need God to give me something. Or even at the time, I didn't feel like, oh, I need a fresh word from God, I need to understand. I didn't feel like there was, to me, nothing that I felt like I needed to fast for, if that makes sense. I didn't feel like I was having a hard time hearing God's word. Obviously, you know, I heard God talk to me on the way home. So one of the things that I was able to experience that honestly I've never been able to experience before, and I know that I'm at a different point in my relationship with God now, is that I was able to read the Bible with so much clarity and so much understanding during this fast. If I'm really like hyper fixated on reading the Bible, there are some times where I will read something in the Bible and I have to read it over and over and over and over again because I don't necessarily understand what they're saying. I've even gone as far as to Google, okay, I keep getting this scripture and I'm just a little confused, so I'm gonna Google. Like, I didn't have to do that. I understood. And the other part about it is I also understood where certain scriptures applied to my life. Like I said, I didn't feel like I was in the middle of going through something or I needed to fast, or I didn't feel like that, but it was something that God needed me to do. The biggest thing two of the biggest things that I got from this fast was discipline. I lack discipline. I lack discipline in a lot of areas of my life, but the two areas that have been plaguing me the most, if I'm being honest and transparent, and God was able to make me see this for myself during this fast, I lack discipline when it comes to food, and I lack discipline when it comes to my finances. So those are two things that I didn't necessarily, I knew that I had a problem, but I didn't know what the root of the problem was, and the root of the problem is discipline. That was something that God was able to show me clear as day during this fast. One of the other things that I learned during this fast that really broke my heart, and it's something that after the fast I was able to discuss with my husband. Some of the relationships that I held near and dear to my heart, I lacked boundaries. And during the fast, how can I say this? I was able to see that there was some tailoring needed in a lot of my close relationships. God really revealed to me during the fast that I need to alter how I present and show up in certain relationships, and what I am offering and giving of myself in those relationships. I'll just leave it at that. But that, had I not fasted, I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think, had I not been in the middle of the fast, had I not had the mental clarity, I don't think that I would have received that or understood that at any other period in time. When it comes to my health and my finances, I was able to see that I need to make some changes, and I need to make the changes now. Warning comes before destruction. God warned me, God showed me, so now what am I gonna do? Last thing that happened to me actually at the end of the fast, and I really believe that it was nothing but God. My husband gets on me all the time about me not resting. He's always like, Trish, you can't do everything, you need to lay down. I am very, very, very strong-willed. So baby, at the end of the fast, God set me down. I got so sick. I'm talking about sick. So my fast was actually already over. So this was at the end of the fast. I had no other choice but to literally lay in the bed the entire weekend and rest, and I needed that. God needed to get my attention. And so God wanted me to remove the things that had my attention so that I could hear him clearly. And the things that had my attention was social media. Y'all see how the very first thing that came out of my mouth, and this is why I said I would show y'all at the end, how I said I didn't understand why, how is it that I'm now starting to make money on social media? God, you telling me to delete social media? That's why. That's the reason that God needed me to delete those 3 platforms. Facebook, because of those relationships I told you that I needed to tailor and alter. Those relationships have access to me on Facebook. Because Facebook, you know, is a bunch of family, friends, people that you know personally. Instagram and TikTok are platforms that have allowed me to start making money. I know that God has a plan when it comes to my content, but I also saw that I was getting caught up. God had given me just a little bit, baby, and I ain't gonna say it was going to my head, but God needed to reel me on back in before I, got out of control. So I said all of that to say, I hope this video helps you in some way, shape, or form. I hope that if God calls you to fast, you don't feel intimidated. I hope that if it's not a traditional fast, that you don't allow society to tell you that you can't do that. I hope that you are able to hear clearly from God's word. And the other thing I really want to end this video with saying is write the vision and make it plain. It says in the Bible to make it plain. So we don't have to write a dissertation. We don't have to give like this long drawn out detailed plan. All he want to know is the vision. He just want to know what's your vision, and then you add a prayer on top of that vision. My prayer is that my vision aligns with the will of God, and if it does not, that God alters my vision so that my vision can be on the same page as his will for my life. That's it. That's all. If you made it this far, I hope that you subscribe to my channel for more videos like this. And I will see you guys in the next video. That's it. That's all. Bye.